Hey guys, Dan with the Creative Producer. Welcome to episode 4, and this is the last episode of the year.
Crazy. This year has been crazy. A lot of high lows, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's funny how people it's like people say the most cliche shit. It's like crazy. It's almost Christmas. You said that in the car.
Okay,
It's like,
it is.
stop.
It is crazy.
Stop.
One day it's like March, and then it's like, oh, it's December already.
It's
We're
like
done.
it's like people say the same thing over and over again.
No, it did go by quick. Very busy year, a lot of ups and downs, highs and lows, as you said. Yeah, I think it's cool. I'm really excited to be on this episode now. I mean, I think one of the things like we've really tried to do over the years is create internal content. So for me, like to be seeing us at episode 4 is really exciting because it's like, hey, it's not easy to commit to a show, an episodic show. It's not easy to put time into your own content. And so you have to make time and you have to make effort to do it. So to me, 4 episodes is a win. I think I was reading that most podcasts, there's like a very small percent, maybe like 5-10% hit 20 episodes.
That was a lot of episodes that we're gonna get to.
A lot of episodes. It's not like necessarily a goal. I think for me, it's like instinctually, it's like, hey, can we make a podcast? Like I'm fine with doing like a quarterly episode, whatever. I'm just like, I'm all about consistency. It's a cool show. It means a lot to me to recap things and to talk with you about things. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, the purpose of today's episode is we're gonna just recap the year, talk about the highs and lows, talk about the slow months, the busy months, and some of our favorite projects and sketches. I think this year was like, compared to last year, this year was definitely more like ups and downs rather than like straight or like slow increase, which is interesting because like I think September and August were like the slowest months. Like we were like relying on our retainers, which is a big thing when you like, I think creators and videographers and filmmakers should definitely like think about when you're in a high and you're like making good money, you're doing a lot of projects. You don't think about like when is it gonna slow down? Like, are you ready? Are you prepared for that? Do you have like projects and retainers to like help you keep up with the slow months? And I think we're very grateful for our retainers and our niche in fitness.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think what any business, consistent income is important. I mean, obviously for me to keep staff on payroll or keep staff on salary, I can't like solely rely on bids and one-off jobs. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's pros and cons to retainers. Earlier this year, the year started out, we had a pretty large retainer with a company, and it was a great relationship we had built several years in the making with our working together, and we started working consistently together, and it was good. I think it was a good bridge. I think it was a good 6 months. Unfortunately, just like most of the retainers we've had, in certain situations, I feel like flat rate fee retainers for video are dodgy. I think some people have the right mindset with them and it works for their business. I think for us, it's like, I think we work best in like a retainer atmosphere where there's like an expectation of deliverables per month. And with that expectation of deliverables, we are able to work really well with internal teams and to help them create video content and assets for their media content needs. Now, if it's like, hey, you're on a retainer, go. And it's like, okay, cool. We'll start doing stuff. But like, if there's no like capacity internally to manage the retainer, to manage the deliverables, it's kind of dodgy in regards to how long the retainer will last or how long the relationship will last. Because, any business, like business is about relationships. I've started Dresser Visuals with that mindset of having a large client retention rate, having a smaller amount of clientele at the start, and keeping them on. And that's what we've been doing. That's what allows everyone to have some sort of like consistency in their routine, is because you want to have consistent video work, and it's nice to have a somewhat of a consistency and a theme to where I always tell you, like, sometimes I'm like, hey, this is going to be like kind of like a not autopilot, but more of a familiarized week or familiarized 2 weeks where you're going to be working on our main YouTube content with muscle and strength. So it's not as like crazy for you to like hectic new workflow, new design assets, it's a little bit more formulaic. We've worked on this for several years. I think it's important to have that, and it keeps cash flow positive. But with that being said, I learned personally this year, like, you know, when you're having the consistent work with the retainer, it's nice, but all good things do come to an end, and things get evaluated and marketing budgets get chopped. And this year, I think we, as a country, economically, we prevailed, but there definitely was some economic uncertainty.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when there's economic uncertainty, marketing budgets are one of the first budgets to get sliced, and extremely relevant to us with what we do as typically creating content that's used in marketing, and then also being vendors for internal teams. Vendors typically get cut before in-house employees. So, you know, just some adjustments on that end, and definitely like good lessons to learn. I think for me, like as the more like the liaison on the business side of things, I think I'm starting to pay attention to economic trends more, because they very much represent and relate to how our year and how our quarters are. While before, I don't think I was quite aligned with how relevant that was to our business. You know, that was a really big thing I learned this year, because I started paying attention to those things. And I mean, not 100%, but like things were pretty much, the year was pretty much dictated pretty much the tone of the entire year. Yeah. Looking at it and how things were predicted to be each quarter of this year. So,
yeah, it's really, even when retainers, you never know when it might end. So you always gotta like keep in mind and like put efforts into business development, which is a big thing that I'm trying to learn more. And Dan is the main one that does really well. Like there's been multiple times that you've told me like, oh yeah, I just got off a meeting with potential client. We're gonna work with them soon. I actually like cold call them like a year, like last March, and it's like August this year. It's like it can literally take over a year to like get a call back, or it can take like a month. Like and that's part of the game, and that's what you just got to keep going and keep like even if you're comfortable with a retainer and got a few big projects coming up, you gotta like still keep trying to like build and get more clients, because so you can be ahead of the game before like it all slows down.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, like, I mean, that's kind of what happened to us, which caused a little bit of a delay in August and September. And, you know, I'm like done with like trying to pretend like, you know, everything's great on Instagram and like we only do like cool high budget shit, because like in reality, it's like, dude, like it's not always the case. And it's like sometimes like I have to grind to get us work, to have everything be at the satisfaction level that I want to be at financially. And sometimes that means not doing the most fun, exciting things. And like, that's unfortunately, that's part of life. Like when you work in a professional field and you can say this, dude, I love film, I love video, I love producing content, but sometimes I have to do certain types of work that I don't necessarily love to do. And I know you do, I make you do those things too. Mm-hmm. But you know, I know, like that's the kind of things that's like, hey, this is what's going to make sure that every 2 weeks I'm getting paid. This is what's going to make sure that I have job security. And we have to like mature and grow as creatives and learn that, because like sometimes it's like the coolest projects we do don't necessarily pay the most or pay at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that like one of the mistakes I made was like, so we had the big retainer and then I was still working and I was still looking at opportunity, but it was a little dry, I would say. Like there was definitely there were some moments where I was like, I feel like I could have been doing more. And by the time the retainer ended, we kind of just like entered into this like weird transitional period of like 2 months where like there was just like a lull. And it was like, hey, how do we fill this void that was coming in? And at the start, it was like, hey, you know, not only that, the client, you know, and everyone's in great terms. The client also pulled all external vendors. Mm-hmm. So while we weren't on the retainer, we were still doing external work for them, and it was still an account for us. So it was having our we were still working on them. and working with them at least a couple times a month. So that pulled. So we lost an account, we lost a retainer. So that was a little bit of an adjustment. And it took a second to bounce out of that. And we're still kind of like, I would say like we're on the mends of recovering through that. But adjusting and finding new accounts and new consistent income, it takes a second. And sometimes onboarding an account can take 6-8 weeks to really get into the groove of things. Going back to your freelance note, so people always are like, how do you get business? And I think there's so many different ways to get business, and different mentalities. But one of the things I did, I just like straight up cold called like companies. And I think I had 10 on the list, and they weren't just random. They were companies I felt like were compatible. So I spent like a couple of days like compiling this list, and then I worked with my my wife, Brittany, who's also our casting director. She helped me with finding the right contacts to people. And you know, you could do that through conventional email, but like there's only so much you're gonna do like with an email. Like I know if I'm solicited through an email, I'm very rarely gonna respond. So calling sometimes goes a long way.
Most people usually, like, I imagine they just have so many emails a day they gotta go.
Yeah, and it's sales. So like, I mean, people try to sell all the time, and so I called a bunch of people, a lot of declines, a lot of no's, no interest. You know, that's part of the game, and it sucks. It sucks to get declined, but it also sucks to get declined when you like need work. So I recommend, like, if you're trying to do sales and business development, like you brought up earlier, do it when you have things going on. Make time. Like one of the things we're going to be working on next year is like both of us devoting a time out of our week to business development, because that's going to be like, hey, you may not need this now, but when this project wraps and you get paid, after that money is in your account, like what's next? And so that's kind of the mindset you need to have, is like that constant looking ahead. And, you know, while you operate like day to day, like on the day-to-day operations of the company, like I'll operate on like the quarterly, like, hey, what are we doing in 3 months? Like, where are we going to be there? So, you know, that's just how you got to stay ahead. You got to run a business.
Yeah, you always got to think ahead, which is, yeah, as you said, is what you do. You're always thinking ahead. You're always thinking months ahead, and I'm usually focusing more on like what we got to like get done right now.
Yeah.
To keep it going. So, you know, it works out well, but I definitely do want to also start working and focusing on business development.
Yeah. And I think that's like, it's going to be our biggest thing for you is like, we got to figure out how you work best in getting clients. Like, what is your best route? And like, I think like there's like no specific strategy to go about it. I think the way we're going to do it is like, I'm going to show you some of the ways that I do it, and you're going to try them, and you'll kind of adapt and make your own method of that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that like the point is with the cold call, it's like it took a year, but we ended up getting an order from the client. It took a year, literally 365 days, 4 follow-up emails, 1 every quarter. Well, it started out as like I had an in-person meeting, and then a year or 6 months after that, after like following up over 2 months, I got an email checking in, and then that email, you know, didn't really go anywhere. Then I sent another email asking that client to go to lunch, and they never even responded. Because I don't do lunch, man.
I never did lunch for a good bit.
I mean, I do lunch, but like I don't really like going out to lunch with people. Like I don't really like, I don't know. I just like, I have my thing, and like I don't know. I just like like I don't know. Lunch isn't a big deal to me. I don't want to like. I prefer like. I don't know. It's fine. I just. Like,
I mean, no, I get it. It's like the whole commitment thing. Like you go through the meeting, you talk about everything. Cool. Now we gotta finish eating so we can go.
I guess it's like that's the thing with me is like I don't like to eat, and like if I know you, like that's different. Like okay, so like Muscle and Shrink, Damien, like if him and I had lunch, like I don't. It's whatever. Like we know each other. I lunch is like something I'll do with a client after I've met them and had a relationship with. But like doing lunch and having like a sales pitch, first off, it's like me ordering at a restaurant. It's so obnoxious because like people are always like, oh, you don't eat this or you don't eat that. I'm like, no, I don't eat that. I eat this.
He was already like, you know, very like healthy food, but now he's gluten free, so it just adds another.
It's just like, so I just like really not trying to draw attention to that. And so it's like, you know, it's like I try to like eat at any restaurant, but I don't know.
It's true. Like, how are you like eating while trying to pitch?
That's really the thing. It's like, so I invited him to lunch, never got a response, but then, hey, you know, out of the blue, I got an email. And then it was like, hey, you know, we have a new team member, and it clicked because I was like, why is this working now? Because the person that I had cold called at the initial meeting with, it was great. They were super compatible with our services, but they didn't have the infrastructure and the team and the bandwidth to like entertain the service.
Yeah.
Because like working with a vendor, working with on a new relationship takes a second, and it requires a certain type of bandwidth that not a lot of businesses have. So once they hired that person who's solely focused on working with agencies and creating content and creating marketing assets, that person was immediately like, I need help. Mm-hmm. And because I knew the second that they connected the dots, I knew they were going to need video, and I knew they would thrive in it because of just the type of work they do. So we started out the project, and it's exciting. You know, it was a good first project. I was really proud of it. It was, you know, obviously demonstrating your skills in 3D. I think that it's a client that's going to primarily use us for 3D work on the regular, and then I think they're going to step in with more production stuff. But I mean, I don't know. What did you think of it?
I thought it was great. I'm very excited to just do more 3D work. But I mean, working with this client has been, I mean, it's been great because they are also creative. They understand like the workflow, or they understand the workflow more than usually clients do.
Yeah.
And when asking for like corrections or asking for add-ons, or like they, you know, you can talk to them a little bit with like you can talk to them a little bit like editor language, and it's honestly been great. But I hope we do more projects, because I love doing 3D, especially now I'm getting like relatively okay at it. So I hope it keeps going.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think that's like, that was a skill that like we've been like it's newer for me. Like I kind of step out of the creative on that, and I'm more like project manager and on these projects, because I don't really have that skill set. But I definitely enjoy like getting to explore and see the benefits of doing this type of work, and I see a lot of potential to like offer a lot of services and a lot of things that you are really like kind of focusing on learning right now, because to me, like, they're an example of a compatible account. So that's the biggest thing. It's like when people are like, who do you go after with business? It's like, I'm done saying everyone, because it's not true. Like, there's a compatibility factor you have to look at, and you have to look at like, are you going to make one video, or are you going to be potentially an account that I can do 6 figures a year for the next 3-4 years on? You know, I'm looking for that long-term picture. So like, yeah, I'd love to do that $6,000 video of you talking about your whatever. But like, if you never order again, I don't know. It's like, is onboarding, is that investment worth it? I'd rather look at like, in the grand scheme of things, like, are we like can we be a long-term partner? Because, you know, we kind of like, we do a lot of work and absorb a lot into people's workflow when we do when we do our services with brands, and we kind of like jump in and like work with the team versus like feel like an outsider. So I think that's really like a skill set that we have, and I think it's hard for some brands to understand that. Like, as contractor doesn't necessarily mean like foreign, far away, like external help. When I mean foreign, I mean like foreign to the team, like not someone they have a relationship with. Contractor just means, hey, I'm not on your full-time salary payroll. I'm a per project hire, but I still want to integrate and learn how your team works.
You still got to build that relationship. That's the big part of like keeping up with it. Same with like you doing business development, like keeping up and like calling them multiple times, like see how, making sure, what's the word? Keeping up. It's like following up. That's the word. So you keep following up. You keep building that relationship, and that's kind of what you gotta do. And as you said, until you can, you know, like I did a little bit of business development. Like got a potential client. I called once. We emailed back and forth a little bit, sent them a quote. They still didn't hear from them for a couple weeks. Then we like called them again. They're like, oh, we're still trying to figure out some stuff. Okay. Wait a couple weeks, call them again, see how they're doing, to see how's the project going, and they're like, well, we pushed it for next year. We're gonna use a video we already have on board. I'm like, okay, great. So for now, just wait, and next year maybe I'll hit them up again and see if they're ready to make that video. So you just gotta keep building that relationship.
What do you mean, maybe? No way. You are.
I am.
I am mid-Jan. You were absolutely doing that. And no, I think that was a great experience, but that was also a great realization and understanding too of how this game works.
Yeah.
You're not gonna just like get it because you reached out.
Yeah.
You're not just gonna get the job. You're not just gonna get the income, and you gotta work for it, and you really have to be prepared to take that time because, hey, it's not super easy. Now sometimes it truly is a handout where it just naturally just happens. You're just like, dude, that was a handout. Someone just threw me a boat. I appreciate it. Sometimes that happens, but then other years you don't get those. So you have to calculate for that. So it's like, hey, don't project your year based on luck, I guess you'd say. I don't really like to say luck, but I guess in this situation it's like, don't project it on a handout or a luck or a favor. Don't expect that. And obviously when you get that, enjoy the positives to it. But realize that that's lead gen. You spent a year, a quarter or half a year or whatever doing the quote, having that call, building a relationship. So now we can follow up. And now it's like, hey, how are you? Happy New Year. Like, it's time to follow up. Like, that's an example of and you might have the exact same thing happen to you that I have with that cold call. And it's like, is it fun to do sales? No, it's not. But it's really, if you want to be in video production and you want to do commercial production, you're going to have to sell. And it's just kind of how it is. So you have to start looking at scalability. And look, I look at people's Instagrams and I look at accounts and I'm like, dude, how do they get these massive accounts? How do they get these massive deals? And it's like, there's a lot of different equations of how it happens. You could say they lucked out. You could say they know somebody. But in the long run is everyone has their own path. But it's like, regardless of the path, there's still a lot of work and a lot of learning that is required in order to be able to handle an account that's big like that.
Yeah.
And that's why all these experiences are great, because you learn from them and you're able to implement that into working with an account that has those expectations. We've had those experiences with agencies because we've really grown to work with a lot of agencies lately. And every time we work with a new agency now, we kind of understand the lingo, where the workflow, the servers, the deliverable. We just it's a different world in agencies. Even getting paid by an agency is a different thing. But you expect it when you're used to it. But before, I was new to us.
Oh, I was even newer to. I remember one of the first things they kept saying, "Hey, can you adjust this copy? Can you do this copy? Can you add this copy?" And I just kept going, what the hell is copy mean, Dad? And he's like, it means text. I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah, there's definitely lingo for sure. But I mean, that's in the world of commercial advertisements, that's agencies have the account. That's just kind of how it is. And it's there's obviously expectation, or there's always obviously going to be some times where brands order directly from you. I get that, but in the majority of the time, the agency has to deal with the brand, and then the brand has an objective. The agency creates a campaign, and then you are someone who bids on the job based on your skill set and your experience and your style to see if you're compatible. And it's cutthroat. And I'm learning now. I think one of the biggest things I'm learning as a producer right now is what it takes and what we need to continuously grow in that world and get to play. And I'm not saying I've cracked the code, but I'm starting to I've met with people since really this quarter. I've spent a lot of time meeting new vendors that we can work with, because there are a few things that we don't have yet on the regular that I know is what the expectations are from the brands. And next year we're going to have those things.
Yeah.
It's just building a team.
with this year and all the different projects we worked on, we want to talk about some of our favorites. We've also done we did quite a few different mediums and types of content. For one of my favorite projects, Extra Space Storage, we did 2 ads this year. We did one that was more narrative based, live action narrative based, and then we did a stop motion one, which we did back to back with a different project. So that was like last month that we did it.
Yeah, that was tough. So we filmed 2 CTV ads in a month, and like I think for us, it's like obviously the goal of the year was I want us to do at least 1 CTV campaign a quarter, so 4, and we ended up getting I think we ended up getting 5. So we got that, we met that goal. We had some additional projects that weren't as big, but we still met that goal with that particular client. Unfortunately, yeah, it all kind of worked out to where it's like we had a slow August, September, and slower September. August was just a really slow month for us. September was picking up, and then we did the first Extra Space ad. We co-directed it, I produced it, you edited it, and also colored it, and it was a lot of work. It was a really beautiful piece. I'm really proud of it. I really like it. It's a beautiful story. Personally, for me as a father, new dad, I really related to it. It's about a expecting mother announcing to her husband the news, and then the progression of a family making room for having a child. So my son was actually in it, which was really cool. Shout out to Luca. And that was really fun. It was fun. It was stressful. Having a child on set, infant on set, even though it's like your son, like I still had to arrange childcare. My mother-in-law was actually there in town from Maryland, so she was there, and then my mom actually came in as well. So we had double support, and even though we had the support, it's just different. Like, so I don't want to go too far into this one, but like it was really interesting because like there was a lot of logistical challenges with this one because the space had no power.
Yeah,
they had no outlet.
We were doing 2 locations with one a house that we rented, and then we were shooting in the actual storage unit that didn't have any plugs.
Yeah, so like our cinematographer was obviously very focused on lighting, and then the lighting in the location was very interesting because it's like the automatic fluorescence, so it's very lit, very flat. But there were still things we wanted to do in light. So, all those logistics aside, like that put us a little behind. We also rented some cinema lenses, the Cook series. And, that was really cool for me because I'm like a big lens camera guy. So like I really enjoyed getting that experience, but the lenses slowed down the production too. Changing the lenses out, setting them up, etc. It was just a lot of work. Yeah. So we were behind. So my son was waiting like an hour and a half in a lobby. So anyone knows of infants or babies, I think it was like 8 months at the time, a baby, an hour and a half can make or break a baby's mood. Mm-hmm. So he's sitting in the room for an hour and a half with the mother-in-laws, and then he came upstairs, and then when he came upstairs, we find out that he's terrified of storage doors.
the dope every time, because there's a shot from the cameras inside the storage unit, and they have to like open and close the garage door. They open, it's just the couple, they close, and then when match cuts to them having the baby. And every time we open the door to get the shot, Luca would just immediately start crying.
Yeah. So that was hard. And then like, it's just like he's a kid, so he's a baby, so you can't really get a baby to do what you want when you like. I don't know, like maybe people train babies, but like I don't think babies can be trained like dogs or pets. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it. No. I think children are kind of just like. I think it's just like a personality type, and then like there's things you can do to like get a child to do certain things, but like babies are very different, especially when they don't speak or fully like understand you. So it was hard to get him to do what we wanted him to do, but we got it, and it was really fun.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, and it's with every shooter, you gotta expect like something's not gonna go your way. So like we had in mind that shot, that match cut, the baby we ready there, but instead what we did, it just worked around it, and we just asked the actress mom to like just hold Luca like a few feet like further back, and then she'll come into the frame after the door is opened, and then worked pretty that way.
Yeah, and I mean, that's like how we had to kind of handle it on set. You know, it's like you have your storyboard, but it's like sometimes you're just gonna have to like improvise. And then logistically, I was really stressed because, you know, I was just like, dude, I don't know if we're gonna I don't know if we're gonna finish the ad. Like this, we were so behind. And then we like moved to the home, which was like a 20-minute drive. The crew had lunch, and then I was like, I know like my entire crew probably despised me like wandering around as they're eating. Like, are you done yet? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god! I remember told me, I was like, hey, I was like, they're done.
I just was nervous, and it's like, hey, like, you know, I was really nervous. I didn't think we were gonna finish, and like, I think once again, it was like the child was a big element of the production that added another additional 2 people on set. Yeah. So having a baby means you have to have a location for the baby to be while you're setting up. So anyways, when we got to the other location, it was a beautiful house. Our art director, production designer, Madeline, did a really good job setting up beforehand. And we really we ended up getting like everything done, like boom, 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 like very simple, very easy look, very smooth sailing. Production wrapped right on time, which gave us exactly enough time to strike. And, you know, that was a really stressful shoot in regards to like what we did in a day, but it ended up being a really easy edit.
It did. And on that point, like I remember, he was like stressing out most of the shoot because we were behind, and it's a fair point, but it was so funny because at the end, there's a clip of him just going, okay, we're a minute late, but good job, guys.
No, we were 15 minutes.
No, it was like a minute or 5 minutes.
It was 5 minutes.
It was like 5 minutes.
We were still behind. But it was like it was fine. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is like in Atlanta, another thing I learned is in Atlanta, locations are just so expensive because we're in Atlanta. So like that's something like when we like I started learning because like the next like ads we didn't shoot in Atlanta. I was like, why are my margins different in this line item and this line item? And I'm like, oh wow, because I'm not in Atlanta, the price for this location is literally half. And so it kind of like for me like gave me some ideas of like in the future sometimes considering like, hey, we don't need to necessarily be filming in Atlanta, like driving a little further out at times may be worth it. You know, I'm not saying all the time, but I'm just saying like that was like a realization to me is like the word Atlanta, a lot of times these locations literally charge like 100% more because they're in Atlanta. Yeah. So that was a good lesson, but that was a really cool project.
And then moves on to the next favorite project, which is the project that you're talking about that we shot in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Because like you said that you were looking at Airbnbs or like houses. You were looking at houses to rent for the shoot, and people were like a lot chiller about it.
Yeah.
That was like, really sure, that's fine. The price is still the same. I'm not gonna add a premium to shoot in the location.
Yeah, I mean that was really I didn't expect that. I don't know why that happened, to be honest, because that happened like I think I had 10 homes, and then I had done outreach to 10 homes, and I gotten 10 approvals for filming and then having crew. So we brought 4 crew members to Jacksonville to film, and you know, it's hit or miss, like crewing in Atlanta, crewing in Jacksonville. I juggled both options. And I think it just like what the challenge was, like we had a client kind of lingering with dates. So like I had like a gaffer that I was going to hire, and it also had a grip. I actually ended up coming to terms with both crew members and like being in a pretty good place with like, hey, like I think I'm good with hiring you guys. But then the date changed, and like when that happens, it's just like it becomes really challenging, dude. Like when a client goes, oh, I need to push 2 more weeks, like all the work you do to produce something, and then it has to get scooted over, like it's just a lot. So we ended up bringing all of our crew, but yeah, everyone that had a location, we ended up getting all the locations were Airbnbs, and there was actually very little other options, to be honest. And they were very cool, very supportive. And client chose the one that we wanted. You and our camera operator, Tony, stayed in that location. And then my wife and I literally, we could have, well, I think it was only, no, we could have. You and Tony could have shared that room,
technically, yeah.
Because it was 2 beds and then the king. But like, you know, we've always kind of been like that. We like our space.
Yeah.
Like I always like when him and I travel, like we've had like, remember that time you traveled with me and you slept on the couch at my parents' house?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I think I was too tall or too like that big. My legs were just
Yeah, I mean that was like I think that was like the one time and like we did that and I was just like I can't do that again. Like, I was like, just like I just
wasn't that bad.
no, I know, but like we didn't need to do that. So like I don't know. I think after that we kind of like when we can, like there's been exceptions, but like you and I typically when we travel together, we try to get like a suite where we have 2 rooms and a common room. And then I also like don't, I like to have space. I know you like to have space after the shoot. And then we stay in rooms or we stay in the same room, but it's just nice to have some separation. But so yeah, we stayed a block away, my wife and I, and then you guys stayed in the location, and then yeah, it worked out really well. We had a great shoot, and it was a really fun day. A lot of people. We had like pretty big. We can put up the crew pic. We had like a pretty decent sized crew for that with the talent.
Yeah,
and
it was a cool project because it was a live action narrative, and it was for a service that like compiles public documents for you to search for people a lot easier, like family members, long lost friends. And we like kind of took the route of like older people that were like in a band, and then they're like, you know what, let's get the band back to that. And it was like a really cool concept, and ended with like them jamming out and all that. We even used a little bit of AI, but it was to like de-age them for pictures, because we had to do like Brandy build a whole like album with pictures, and we like use AI to like use pictures of them now in the present and de-age them a little bit, and like put them in like a setting of them in the basement like jamming out. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed producing that actually. I think that was just a really fun shoot. Everything kind of like the drive obviously sucked. Like that was the hard part, like driving to Jacksonville.
Stuff about Bucky, so honestly, that was pretty nice.
Yeah, but I mean, like other than that, like it was just kind of like it was a long lot of travel, but like the production side of it was really cool.
Yeah.
And then I really got into the AI. I loved what you did with that. That was like a really small line item. We had to invest like a couple hours of your time labor wise, and then we had to pay for some membership. I think it was like $12.
Yeah, I think it was like $10.
Yeah,
to start off something like that.
So like, and then to de-age and create those photos, it was really cool. And they did get screen time on the edit. Like they're seen in both edits. And I don't know. I just thought it was cool. Like, making up the band name, and then like, of course, I came up with a band name, and then my wife, like, I wanted my wife to like cut out like little letters from magazines to make it seem like a scrapbook, and like I don't know. I just thought it was a really cool touch, and then the talent was pretty cool too. So that worked out really well. That was a really memorable shoot for me. I just think that was a fun one.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think they both guys like actually played instruments, so it was really cool to just get them to like, you found a royalty-free song, and then like get it to them, and then like they kind of like rehearsed this, so they can so when we're shooting, they're like ready to go, and like it looks like they're actually playing the song. So.
Yeah, I mean the only thing like I like regretted on that was like we were very limited on our production budget, so we didn't have technically a designated cinematographer. And we had like it's like sometimes you just can't do it. Like you just don't have the budget, and it's like it's just kind of how it is sometimes. And people will like argue with that on crews and stuff, but it's like, dude, if you work crew and you don't produce your own stuff, you can't really jump in and have an opinion, because like if you make a living making videos, sometimes you have to like use your in-house team and do what we can, and that's what we did. And the only time that I really felt like shout out to Tony. Like Tony was an amazing hybrid camera operator, because he ended up really helping us with the lighting. We didn't necessarily have the expertise on, but the biggest challenge was the outside. Of course, we needed to wait for the performance to be dark so we could get the lights outside on the patio. And of course, it's sort of like Florida mist.
We also got rained on.
Yeah, and it was like overcast all day, and then it like really started misting, and it was like a fairly thick mist.
Yeah.
And it was cold. Actually, it was like pretty chilly, and you know, it was a little frustrating. So the team was kind of like tired towards that time, and it just kind of like the lighting on that like one shot was actually really like it just like kind of blew everyone out with the key light on this one shot.
Yeah.
And then you ended up using
we updated Resolve and used their new relight software that somehow like it like creates a depth map of the image and like just figures out where things are closer, when things are further back, and like you can basically relight the image a little bit, and like that way we were able to separate the talent from the background a bit more. It definitely looked better.
Yeah, and I think like that one, like that was like the one shot. But other than that, like I think the Komodo rendered out the shots really well. I actually really like the way it ended up being. Like I used like I kind of like took the lead on the cut on that, and then you like came in and like gave it that eye that it needed to like clean it up. I have a tendency to like cut a little fast, and I also like this was a pretty like decent amount of content for 30 seconds. So you came in, like you like took out like two things that like made it flow really well. And then I think I'm really happy with that edit. And I like the way it colored out and colored the and then the way you fixed the shot. The issue was it wasn't really fixing it. It was more so making the shot match the wide shot, so it wasn't so jarring to the eye. Because it was very like abruptly, like it just was off. And the detail work made a difference in that. So yeah, another thing we kind of learned on that shoot, I think it's like for us like 18 millimeter and 32 to 35 millimeter are pretty much the only two lenses we like use.
Yeah, we because I think you have to rent out all three, or at least three, and we usually add like a 75, 85, but we barely use it. Or we're like, let's just use this since we have it, but we tend to not really like need it.
But I think that's really good for me, because like I'm like now my brain is like I'm after like I'm after those two focal lengths right now as primes to own, like maybe not buy the Cooks, but like I want to own like potentially like the DZO Vespids, like a more cost efficient way to own primes, and those two focal lengths I think would be very valuable for us to own. Because we use them on ads, and that was a really great thing, because I personally like renting gear is kind of annoying. It's kind of like the first Extra Space ad I rented a variety of things, but I also I rented the lenses from someone, and then I had to rent an adapter from someone else. I had to rent the NDs from someone else. So it was like 3 stops. So like the day before the shoot, like it was like 2 stops for me, a stop for you, and then the returning on everything on the day after the shoot was like 3 stops for me, which ended up being like 3.5, 4 hours while you were editing. So, renting is a little annoying. And I think sometimes like if you can budget for shipping and and you can get it in time, like sometimes it's easier just to get your stuff delivered.
Yeah.
And then the stop motion ad we rented the R5 to kind of just complement the Komodo RF mount, so we had a native lens that we could use on both 15 to 35, and we wanted a higher megapixel because we were taking stills, and that was really cool. But so that's the example of like renting gear. So like when we returned the gear, like I forgot like the cap or something.
It was a strap. I remember it was in my car, I think.
It's not anyone's fault. It's just like, oh great, now I have to come back. I have to drive all the way back, get it, and then it's just so annoying. And
the rental place is just like in like just a very trafficked area, so it's just annoying to drive there.
It's so bad that like I live 20 minutes away from it. It's so bad that I think the next time I rent from them, I'm gonna have them ship me stuff.
Oh, can they?
Yeah, that's their main business. They ship, but I hate going there so much that I think it's like I'm done trying to go there.
Yeah.
Especially the last time, and then they I forgot the cap in the bag. It just sucked. That's on me, but
but I think I love the stop motion in the end. It was a lot of work. Obviously, I didn't have experience doing stop motion. You had quite a bit more than me. So we pitched that one of the ideas. We pitched 3 ideas. We were shocked that they picked the stop motion one.
It wasn't shocked. It just
I was surprised.
It was like so. Okay, so the the client reached back out. After the first narrative, they wanted to reorder. They didn't want to go through the bidding war. They just wanted to hire us, which is great. We already built a relationship with them. We learned the brand, and that was really encouraging and for me because it was like, hey, like trusting the process. Let's make it happen. Like that, the core like foundational message of our company are those words: trusting the process, and that is trusting the process by giving your clients the best work possible. Taking a deep dive and it's going the extra mile with communication and delivering as promised. And we got another order from it. And so we pitched 3 ideas. And then I was like, we should just do stop motion. So I just like threw it in there. And they loved it. And I was like,
I mean, it was a good concept because it was like just showing how like your garage piles on with like when you do multiple hobbies, kind of like softly inspired by like New Year's resolutions, so let's have more hobbies and all that. And the stop motion was going to be incorporated in like the things like piling on, like they're like animated and they have their own like sentient, so they move around. And the same thing when the boxes come in and like help pack. I also pack up everything, so it was going to be all stop motion animating it, putting everything in the boxes and everything gets cleaned up and all that. So that was where the stop motion was going to come in. And then the people that own the garage were going to be like more live action, like more like just normal speed.
And I think creatively, like I like saw the overall thing, but when it came to the animation, I was like, I knew like you stepped up on that because like I was more like engaged in like the live action part, but when it came to the animation process, I just like, it wasn't my expertise, and it was just very tedious. It ultimately turned out really cool, but it was very tedious, and I think it was harder in the long run. I think it was harder than the first one for sure.
Oh, 100%. We did a lot of tests. I did like we did a lot like 2 tests here. Before we shot it. I was looking at software to like use so we can like view it because can't touch the camera.
Right.
And then there was one that like was the one that everybody uses, but it's like $300. And I looked at it, I'm like, damn, it's not gonna.
I regret.
So we went for like an app from the Apple Store. There's like $8. It had good reviews, but I think it was meant for more like hobbyists. So it worked great. It just had a lot of quirks.
No, it did not work great. It fucking sucked.
But I don't know if that was the case.
Like,
Like it just the camera kept getting disconnected. And
it had, so for someone, like it had no camera scopes, no peaking, nothing.
Oh yeah.
And we couldn't use autofocus because like it would change per picture. So everything had to be manual focus. And then you obviously like when you use the USB for viewing, the LCD turns off. Another reason why I can't stand DSLRs. They just have so many quirks for video that like people just like don't care about. I'm just like, like that doesn't annoy you. Like that's so annoying. Like that's not normal. But it was like it was quirky and it like, oh my god,
it was definitely quirky.
It was so annoying and like it was fine, but it was annoying.
And even with all that work, they still required quite a bit of like posts to like make it match up. Like there was some like lights flickering, there was some like reflections flickering, so I had to like come in and like make it look like it was all just one cohesive thing. It was completely fixed.
The whole thing. Let's just say my post budget was about 30 to 40% off. I mean, it worked, but like, I mean, it was like it worked, and
I done more posts than we thought it was gonna.
Yeah, I mean, it worked, but I like learned like production wise, like I mean, I love stop motion. I still love it. I actually would like to do more of it. I personally find it really like, and that's like sad. Like I love animation. I just don't love doing animation. Like I love like being the manager of like the scope and like getting it done. But like the actual animators, like I respect animation so much and the work and the skill. But I personally like I love it because like that's my background. As a kid, I used to animate, especially live like actual objects like clay and figurines. So I personally like really get into it. So I would love to do more. I just like I know now like I would do so many things differently.
I mean, it was still fun. Like it's that kind of thing that you just like focus on it and you just keep going. You just push it. call the computer, take the picture, push it again. Like I don't know, I enjoy that type of like monotonous. Like you're just like there. So it was actually kind of fun. We for 2 days. We did it 2 days. I think the last day we were up there until like 6 or 7. Dan got sick.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. So we ran out of the garage for 2 days. So I found a person in our neighbor. It was really interesting. I had a rate for the garage I was willing to pay, and then I had like people submit their garages.
Yeah.
And it worked out. I got like 25 submissions. A lot of people were very nice. Like they, some garages were nicer than others, and like I was like, I'm literally scouting for a garage.
Which one was the worst garage that sent you a picture?
Yeah. I was trying to like see if we can make it easy and like use his garage. He sends a picture. I was like, yeah.
He's like, yeah. Next time we want to torture someone, we'll.
I see garage. Yeah, but I mean, we needed a look, and like finally, this guy like actually like in my neighborhood, like within like a mile from here, had a garage, and that he was willing to work with us all the time because we needed like 2 days of accessibility, and we also needed to use the restroom. Didn't have like bathroom access because like people sometimes want to change or use the restroom, but like you don't want to like get off set for that, so like it was just like a whole other thing. So it was actually not as easy as you'd think to find the space, but we found the space, and I don't know why I got sick. Something happened like after lunch and after the live action, we started animating in the talent. I was having such a good day. See, I was just like vibing with the actors and like getting in there, and like we were getting great performances. I was having a great time, and then like I don't know, like I just started feeling nauseous. I drink a coffee, and then I drink a Celsius. So I think I had too much caffeine, and then I started like projectile vomiting. And at first, she didn't think I was sick.
I was like, all right, Dan, let's keep working.
Yeah, he's like trying to like act like he's like the big man in charge, like stepping up. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking sick, bro. Like I'm actually sick. And then he filmed me. You cruel.
I didn't film me. I was doing a BTS shot.
Like doing. He was like happy to see me like up in pain.
And then Dan just said there was sunglasses, just like tapping to take the picture. It's just like. And then he leaves in the shot. I'm like, I was just doing BTS.
Oh, I left and I threw up, and I was like, oh, I think I'm better. And then I threw up again, and I was like, I don't know.
I felt bad, especially when we were wrapping up, and I drove him to his house because it was like 5 minutes away to grab his car. In the middle of the drive, he says, "Stop, pull over, I gotta puke." It's just, and then he gets out of the car, and then he just starts puking on the side of the road, and I'm just there quietly. No, I didn't know what to do, which is there, like, waiting for it to be done as I heard it in the background.
No, this is what you did. You stopped, and then, like, we're in the middle of the road. I'm puking, and then you froze. Your door was open. Mind you, in the middle of the road, your door was open. You were standing halfway in your car and out on the road, and you were just like this. Like, I looked over. You didn't know it. You just stood there. And then, like, after that, I think I was fine. I think I just, like, it was gone. I think it just, like, it was, like, too much caffeine. And then the lights were very bright. And, like,
yeah, the lights were bright.
So it was, like, a white room and, like, this, like, blasting key light. I don't know. It just.
In a garage for hours.
It was hard. It was a really hard shoot. I love the outcome now. But it required a lot of revisions.
Yeah.
Because, like, so you were doing all
I was literally doing them, like, while I was in Tampa for Thanksgiving on my laptop. My laptop was just hot.
No room.
We were like,
no, absolutely no remorse at all. You choose your own destiny. I actually told you, I said, I don't even know if you're going to be able to take these days off. I was like, I said, if you take these days off, I will. Because I actually told you, I was like, I think you're gonna have to work on this one of these.
Yeah,
days.
you didn't give me that. I'm like, yeah, I mean, hey, if it happens, it happens.
Oh, it definitely happened. But like, it was like that edit. It took there's so many rounds of. It's 30 seconds, guys. Yeah. So like, it took so many rounds, and it was like, because it was like stop motion is like you're creating things that aren't real. So like, it has its own sounds, and like, we started like the first cut, like I didn't mind it, but I didn't like it, and then like. It like needed like sounds, and like the sounds were like it just needed a lot of like collaborating together, and we never really got to collaborate on it in person.
Yeah,
I don't think we ever edited that piece together.
No,
because it's all remote.
It was all remote basically.
Which is hard for me because like we like to like dig in together for at least like one session.
Yeah.
Like at least like one session gets us to where it's like aligned, like we're like both. I mean, I'm not saying you did a great job. It's just like I think if we had that one session together, I think it would have come like
we like to collaborate in person,
especially the sounds like, and then like then the logos. We had to remove logos.
Oh yeah, I had to remove logos.
And then I thought that they were gonna say something about a logo they didn't say anything about. So I like paid someone to take that. You love that this didn't work out.
No, I don't. Why would I love that you spend money?
I spent money trying to speed up a process of getting rid of some other logos. They never even asked for them to be removed. And then like the issue was like the person who did them did a fine job, but it's like it was like 25 photos of a sequence of animation, and like I messed up on that. I shouldn't have done that. So I mean, I learned a lot on that project.
One that we did earlier in the year that was not used was a for athlete campaign where we like literally like searched through social media, like finding like key tags like track and like all this, like to find different like real athletes, and they all turned out great. I love them. We did a runner, we did the track and field runner, we did a boxer, we did a rock climber, and we did like just a not a bodybuilder. It was like just a fitness and
Yeah, just like a fitness
fitness athlete.
Yeah, just an athlete.
Yeah, so like we found like underground boxing like gym for this person that they trained there, and it was really cool.
That was a really cool campaign. Yeah, I think like refreshing back to that, it's like that was like quite a while ago.
Yeah.
But you know, there were definitely some really neat memories and experiences from that, and you know, it was a little challenging to deal with in the post side due to certain things, but overall, it was a great experience. I'm very proud of it. I think that it was a great effort on our end. I did learn from that as well. Some stuff. I was, takeaways from that on how that could have been sorted out a little bit better than it was. But yeah, that was cool. That shows, the range of our work.
Yeah, I mean, the rock climber, we drove like 2 hours, South Carolina.
No, it was in Alabama. The only thing I regret on the rock climber is like we never needed to be on that thing.
Yeah, so we went to Alabama to climb real rocks, and then we wanted to get like a more level shot of the rock when the rock climber is like halfway through the rock. So they set up this I don't even know what to call it, like elevator made of ropes for Dan to like lift himself up with the camera. He got like 8 feet off the ground.
Yeah,
it looked hard.
It wasn't hard. I just got uncomfortable.
It looked so hard and uncomfortable. I still give you props. Like especially with the camera, like only like you were on the red and all that. It was just
it wasn't necessary. And I got uncomfortable, but shout out to Jason for making it so cool.
The lengths will go to get the shot.
Yeah, I mean it was fine. I don't know. It wasn't working for me in my brain. I guess like for me, I didn't think it was worth it. When I got up there and saw the shot, I didn't think it was worth it. And that was what really made me annoyed. And I think the campaign could be salvaged into something else in the future. But we also used like a VHS camera.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, dude, like that was a big project. Like honestly, like going back and thinking about it, like I guess like when we like sometimes you like get bogged down into like, not being satisfied and like not being happy as a professionally at where you should be or where you want to be. But then you like doing this right now, I'm just like, dang, dude, like that was a lot of work. Like calling, like casting athletes, calling them, having conversations with them, scheduling that, shooting with them, editing that, like getting to know them, bringing the VHS camera. Like we tried really hard and worked really hard on that project. So that's on. I don't know. It's just like interesting to kind of think about. I kind of like erased that.
Yeah,
in my brain.
It was crazy. It was a big project in terms of like what we want to do and like everywhere we went, but like it was such a cool project. Cause yeah, I forgot about the VHS camera. Dan has like this like VHS tape camera that he got an adapter to connect it to a computer, and then from the computer I set up OBS so we can have a live feed and record whatever the camera's recording, so we don't have to deal with tape and all that. And it looked really cool. It had a cool look. And honestly, I want to use it again for something.
The challenge with that camera was that it didn't record in color for some reason. It only recorded in black and white, even though the camera was supposed to.
The tape.
So the whole issue is I wanted to record in tape, and then I wanted to use like a capture card and just like record, just run the tape into the computer and live capture it like you would do with like mini DV, and that was the plan. But unfortunately, it didn't. And then, I thinking back, I probably should have just bought another VHS camera for like $100 or whatever, get one that actually guaranteed worked. Because it was a really cool look. It had a great. Actually, no. The reason why I didn't want to do that is because like this camera was like had an epic servo zoom and like it was a really cool look. So I really liked the servo. It was an ENG cam from the 80s. It was like an ENG, electronic news gathering. So it was like a news camera. And I got it for like $5 at a yard sale. And so it was like really cool.
Also, aside from the camera, we did do a lot of POV shots. And with the product, which the can, we did like grip head.
I forgot about that.
We did like grip head with like a Carlini clamp and then like attach that, and then the camera went on the grip head and the cam went on the Carlini clamp. Carlini on the clamp. It went on the clamp. And it's just like they took steps and it looked really cool. And then we also had a snorri cam. We also had a snorri cam, and then we attached to the runner and the boxer and like got those cool POV shots. We did a reel showing the before and after shot of the kit, one of the cans. BT, and that went kind of viral, which was cool. So yeah, it had a lot. That project was packed.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of forgot about it. So it's great to reflect on the process. It was April, I believe we filmed it all in April.
I think so.
Yeah, so that was really cool. Definitely enjoyed that.
A really cool project that we helped on was a music video for San Estonia it was the first like real like physical like experience we've had with virtual production, because they shot it all like with a giant LED behind them, and we kind of saw it like in action. Dan had a blast. Like everybody was like, everybody's like focusing on the shoot and everything. You can see Dan Pian going.
I love them. They're one of my favorite bands. I love San Estonia, so it was really fun.
He was having a blast. It was great to see, but it was just cool to see like just that giant LED like wall, just like showing visual, like actually seeing action rather than just seeing on a YouTube video. So definitely it's a big goal for us to like get to work with that type of equipment.
Yeah, I think it was like one of those situations where like you meet the studio, this owner of the studio, you understand the workflow a little bit, you understand the pricing. So for me, like it like helped me understand certain aspects of it, and that was a really cool shoot. The cinematographer that we have used on 2 ads now, Justin, I had already brought up like, hey man, if you guys ever need a PA or anything on a video for San Estonia, again, let me know, because I'm a big fan of that band. I really, I've loved 3 Days Grace for several years. I mean, since I was really young, and then when they created San Estonia, I personally really like San Estonia. Like I always have been a fan of every album they've created, and so that was a really cool opportunity for me just to be there. And I really enjoyed that shoot. I think it was a cool experience. It wasn't necessarily virtual production. It was more just like, it was a little different, like, because like he had pre-rendered everything, and it was like, I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't worlds.
Yeah, it wasn't like a live 3D set. Yeah, like could be moved around, edited, and like the camera, and it didn't have like the camera tracking. It was more like pre-rendered visuals behind the background.
Yeah, and I think that was cool. It was great to see it. Like, I think for me, like it's I still like that's a type of virtual production that I think is great, but I really want to tap into like creating worlds, because like I know, like we've talked about it in the past, like the world creation is really where like the time saving is going to come in certain environments, and getting to do certain things in a certain amount of time with Unreal Engine at your disposal allows you to maximize your amount of time with certain people, and it was sometimes you have to like be in an environment to understand it, and I think it helped me as a producer to understand it a little bit more.
Yeah, and that was really cool. That reminded me of like when we went to Cinegear also later in the year. Like that's when we like really like saw it in action, because they have a full like volume. Yeah. With like, I think you said like 11 computers that like process the environment, and they had like 11 more as backups. So it was like a actual Unreal Engine like live changing and like adjusting like with the giant volume Rondas.
And I think the scale it was at Cinegear was like the ultimate level of where it can be. So that was a pretty cool experience. It was funny because like you wanted to wait to see the after party. I was sick.
But yeah, you were sick, and you were like, like we don't.
No, I was fine. I was fine being there. I didn't want to be there from. No,
Oh, yeah.
You wanted to stay from 10:30 to 7.
Yeah, I wanted the full experience.
No, and so you were gonna like. Then the way your brain works with logistics sometimes. So he was gonna drive. It's the studio. It's in.
That wasn't a dumb idea. I was thinking that actually gonna do
His
that.
brain was like, so he was gonna drive an hour to the studio with me, stay there till 4 or like 3.
Yeah.
And then drive all the way back, drop me off, then drive back to go to party.
I wanted to see it in action more, like, cause and the after party, it was like, you may go in, and they also were gonna do a presentation of like actually using Unreal Engine and fully show it. Before they had like the screen going, but it was more like an idle animation. Like this was gonna be like an actual presentation of like what it can do, and I really wanted to stay for that, and we ended up staying, and it was really cool to see. I think that was worth it.
No, it was cool. I think it was funny because like I didn't want to stay, but like I closed that deal of like right before we were about to leave. I got an email that the deal was closed, and I was like, "Oh,
Now we're partying." So
yeah, cool. That was like a nice little like celebration to wrap it up.
Yeah, Cinegear was awesome. It was a really fun time. I'm glad it was a first time go. It was my first time going. You've already gone, so I definitely am looking forward to next year's.
Yeah, I hadn't gone with you though, so it was really fun to go. And then we ended up meeting Tony and Justin, and we got to see him. We got to see Keelan from Crazy Legs, Cloud to Ground, who's a good friend of mine, someone who we've rented equipment from as well. So and we also got to meet a couple other crew members. So it was a good way to like network once again and like meet other people.
Well, yeah, and Dan, apparently they were talking about like tax incentives. They had a presentation about tax incentives in Cinegear, and Dan apparently asked like the question of the year, because like he asked this question, and people right away started flocking to him like, "Hey, like that was a great question you asked." Like, and then it started to be, but like hours would pass, and then somebody would be next to him, and he would go, "Oh yeah, you're that guy that asked that question. That really good question." I'm like, "What's happening?"
The thing is,
happening?
it's funny how annoyed that makes you.
It wasn't annoying. It was just like I thought it was like funny. I was like, "Why? What is this question like so amazing?"
That was really funny, actually. That was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah, someone actually came up to us at the after party and was like, "You're that guy that asked that question?"
Yeah.
Hey, man, it was a good question. So not only did we have some great commercial productions, we also had internal like skits, comedy skits. And, we have like always done skits like as like a thing we've done before. So this year was interesting too with those, because we definitely had some good ones. One of them was the April Fool's baby workout.
Yeah.
My son was I think he was like 4 months old, so he's still pretty small. And my wife had, for Christmas the year before, my mother-in-law gave us some DV shirts for him. So we came with this little idea of like doing like a baby workout.
Yeah. So actually, that's the first time we fully used the VHS camera, because I think like you started playing with it, and we wanted to do a test, and that's kind of where we came on the idea. Hey, let's do like an 80s style like workout.
Yeah.
With the baby.
Yeah.
And I just get a baby.
So we filmed the whole thing with the VHS camera.
Yeah.
So that's actually the camera. That's actually the only time the camera actually got like use. And people would be like, "Oh, like you could do it in post. You can. It was still cool to like do it. I don't know. I don't regret that. I think it gave a cool look. It had a cool zoom effect. Once again, the workflow was horrific with the software and your laptop having to be connected, but it worked out. But yeah, it was funny. And at the end, we kind of like we did a jump cut with the kettlebell baby swing,
Yeah.
and it kind of obviously looked like I swung my son up in the air. In reality, it was a doll.
It was a doll, but some people believed him.
Yeah, so like I mean it was like it got views, but it didn't like go crazy. I think so, like the boomer family members didn't find it funny. They thought it was like weird. I personally thought it was really funny. Yeah, I mean I still like enjoy like April Fools, especially fitness comedy. I still want to make my I think I'm gonna make my April Fools one this year. The one I was telling you about a while ago that I was gonna do. About the compliments.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a good April Fool's release.
I think that'll be great.
Anyways, that was a fun one. And then
we did one called Repost, which I think that was also your idea. Which the concept is like when you see people like reposting other people's stuff on Instagram, and it keeps getting smaller, and then they'll be like, "Oh, this person reposted me. Let me repost them again." So it just keeps going. So what would happen? What would happen if it just kept going and you don't stop? Yeah, and we kind of just like went crazy with it, and just crazy angles, and just like intense until like it just broke Instagram. And
yeah,
then we just moved back to work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought that was really a funny one. I really enjoyed that one too. I have a friend that actually inspired that idea because he like kept reposting things. And it would be like repost, and I was like, one time there was like 3 layers of repost because his like friend reposted it, and he reposted his friend's repost, and he reposted his friend's repost.
Wait, does it end?
Yeah, so that was like the joke, and like, yeah, I mean, I thought that was really funny. I think we also learned about hooks on that one because, on Instagram and TikTok, so vertical content really requires a 5-second hook to really get you in. And I think like if we had done that again, like I would have done some sort of like, I think would have been cool would have been like a 3D effect of like layers somehow drawing your attention into the piece and then starting the skit. Because as is, it's just like your cool short film that you made with Halloween. Like it didn't do as well on Instagram because it doesn't have the hook.
Yeah, and that's what I think we learned. We gotta like, which I think is a reason why the baby workout maybe didn't do as well. We needed like it says start slow. We needed something like to catch the audience like right off the bat.
It's just a hook. Once you get the hook in there and they stay on, you're good. You just gotta have the hook, and that that relates to our work with our clients. And that's why these internal projects, like it's like, oh, you're spending like 2 days on this internal project. Like it's like, oh, is it really worth 3 days, 4 days of all this? But it's like, ultimately, like an internal project typically will end up being something we sell. I'll use it in some capacity to like to use it and to show a client like, hey, this is something we've done, or this is a style, or this is an experience that I can share to give you a reference point. And so yeah, I think they're good exercises.
Yeah, they're great exercises, and we usually try to like think of like something that we will implement in them that we can definitely sell, like as you said. And like we did a spec app for our protein bar once, and we like did 3D like eyes and mouths reacting to it, and that we were able to sell the 3D. So like it's just it has to let us. Huh?
How did we sell that to? The 3D? I don't.
Not that one. Yeah, let's sell that one. We sold the 3D can to like.
Oh, the can. Yeah. I thought that was a cool ad. Sometimes you like make stuff and you really like it, but like it doesn't do well. But like other times you make stuff and it's like you think it's okay and it does really well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like with Muscle and Strength, Damien and I, the owner of Muscle and Strength, and I always joke. It's like I'm like, I really like this, and Damien's like, well, then don't say that because like it's gonna do bad.
Surely don't say that. Don't like it. Don't like that.
So
this year is being Atlanta. There's like the big Atlanta Film Festival. I join like the membership program they have, so you can get some cool perks, and then from there you automatically get invited to the holiday party, which I thought it would be a cool opportunity for us to like, you know, mingle with like film people, producers, because it was hosted by the Atlanta Film Festival and the Producers Guild, so it was really cool to go there. But a funny thing was, but Dan and I are extroverts when we need to, but mostly introverts when it comes to this kind of thing. I would say, at least me, because I got there a little earlier than Dan, and for some reason it was a great event, but for some reason they did not have the drinks ready for like an hour. So I was just there at a tiny table, just looking around for like 40 minutes waiting, and people.
I wasn't late, like, because I was, like, late. I was in, like, a horrid traffic.
No, you were, like, it stopped.
To be clear, like, I didn't, like, I definitely, like, felt bad. Like, I wanted to be there. I was literally on dead stop traffic.
No, yeah.
It's, like, horrible.
I was just like, I need something to be able to talk to people, and it was just so funny. And then people kept going over asking, and then finally when they, like, kind of see like we started get alcohol, is when like 50 people lined up and like started in the line, and then we were able to talk to some people, which is funny. It gets to the point that Dan and I kept talking to each other, and then somebody was behind Dan, and then they had a tag that said Dan, and I literally just stopped. That was in the middle of a conversation, and I just walk away and go, Dan, and he's like, yeah. It's like, hey, this is this is Dan too.
Yeah, I mean, that's that
icebreaker. Start talking. Yeah, the icebreakers just gotta do it.
Yeah,
and then we ended up talking to a bunch of other people for like basically like the rest of the event. So it turned out like to be a really fun event.
Yeah, I think it's good to continue to like tap into like that community for sure. I enjoyed it. I had a really good time.
Yeah, so that was a funny moment.
Yeah, and then what else was funny? Oh yeah, remember when we were with this athlete in New York this year, and he was like, he like saw you for the first time in person, and he was like, "What do you think of my body?" Like what? He didn't say it like that.
He said, well, he likes to joke around. That was our second time meeting, because the first time was in LA.
That's right.
But then we like went to shoot some stuff with him, and we were just hanging out. We shot for a bit now, and he just goes, "Hey Raf, would you like to have this body?" And he's just like flexing, and I'm like, I don't know why. I just felt comfortable. Maybe it was just like the deal. I was like, no, not really. My wife kind of finds it gross. And he just goes, "Ah."
Yeah, really, really professional. Really professional. That was pretty funny. That reminds, like, whenever Raf meets bodybuilders, it's always funny to me, because like he like loves to like really like push the opposites of how different he is. So there's a video of him with like leaning on this bench, like looking extremely lethargic and tired from the day, and then he like zooms in on his phone to show this like massive guy in the gym. So yeah,
I just zoom back, and I'm just sad like,
this funny character.
We did a Mudrun this year.
Yeah, the Mudrun was cool. Yeah, you got into running this year.
Yeah,
started training for that.
Been running for like 4 months and a half. Been a little inconsistent during the holidays because I've been traveling back and forth and all that, but definitely gonna pick it up again now. It's been, especially when it's cold, like imagine running at 30-degree weather is 6 a.m. It's not fun.
Yeah,
but I think it's been the longest consistent fitness I've like held on to. It's been really fun. I found a few good trails, and then at first the main focus was training for the mud run that we did. It was like 2.2 miles with obstacles. It was really cool. You didn't need to get dirty if you didn't want to, but I wanted to get as muddy as possible. Just went for it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I trained a little bit for it just to get like acclimated to running again, which I don't really like to run.
No,
so.
You're a cyclist, hard.
Yeah, it's not my thing, but I enjoyed the experience, and I had a lot of fun on the run. I think you did we did really good on that. I mean, definitely wouldn't mind doing another one.
Yeah, I definitely want to do that. I definitely want to do one again. I definitely want to. There's specific things I want to train. Like we talked about it. Like I think I was going too crazy and too fast uphill. You know, like. Well, you didn't think of my pacing.
You didn't run on hills.
Well,
You like avoided hills with
I didn't avoid hills.
You did. So like
I just walked them.
yeah. So like unfortunately, this route, even though it was fairly lower level route, it had a very steep hill, and that would have been an example of like training for the hill. One of my favorite moments, I still like, it was really funny. Is I don't know. Well, it was really a cool moment for me. I don't know. It just was interesting. It just stuck out. Was when I saw that little boy.
Oh yeah.
I became like, I went like full dad because like I saw this little kid. He's like 5'4", and he was like crying with his mom, like, and he was like
starting hyping him up.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like was like, you're doing so good.
You got it.
I don't know. I was just like, that was like a cool moment because he like not like amazingly cheered up, but he like kind of cheered up.
Yeah, see though that was very cute. Yeah, like I think you did it. I think you did it with that kid was crying. There was another kid that was like running, and we were like kind of passing him. You were like, yeah, you got this. Keep going, keep going.
Yeah, yeah. I like seeing people try, and it was a family fitness thing. I enjoy seeing people like attempt to make an effort. But yeah, that was really fun. And then you nosedived into that water.
Oh yeah, there was the 2 tubes that you go through, and then it's a puddle of like mud water. And then for some reason, I didn't notice or pick up that most people, when they get to the other tube, before they fall into the puddle, they push their leg out first and land. My brain was like, yeah, just dive into the puddle and just fully submerge yourself in them.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was a good experience.
Okay, so there was a kid saying that he just went through toe surgery like 2 days ago, and we were all in the same puddle of water.
There is some
like, oh no.
There is some like gross stuff like that. It makes me like not like, yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
you're still recovering. You're getting infected.
Or we're gonna get it.
Or we're gonna get infected.
Yeah, but don't drink the mud water. That was a really fun video to edit and get out too. It was a little fun little recap.
Now we brought my GoPro and recorded some moments of it.
It was cool. It was a good time.
It was cool. So going back, I know you're definitely gonna take Luca into a mud run at some point, even if you don't like. Yeah, running. But how's it been your first year being a dad and a business owner?
I would say it's definitely different. So when you're a dad, it's like you have a more like you're forced to have more balance in your life in regards to like what your day-to-day tasks are.
Yeah.
So you don't have like, you can't like, everything's a little different with having a kid.
Yeah.
So I would say it was definitely an adjustment. It's definitely been an adjustment, but it's all been like extremely rewarding. I would say there's definitely things that like I did beforehand in my life, like a little imbalance with my work that I have to like, there's definitely been like times where I've had to like, I don't know, I guess I'm like adapting to being more balanced as a person. Because I have a family that loves me and that I love, that I want to spend time with. So time management has been a big thing. I don't really feel like I never, like when my son was born, I wasn't like, oh, it's time to grind. Like I've always like I've always worked hard.
Yeah.
I would say now it's just like, I need to work hard, but I also need to work hard in an efficient way to get to see my son. So
Priorities shift.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure from your perspective, I'm sure you've seen some of my, like, I've changed.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it changes everything. I mean, it's very rewarding. But I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's just like I have more of a balance now.
Yeah.
And there's different things that I look forward to that I don't think I really cared about before. Like even Christmas, like Christmas is really cool. Like with my son, like I wasn't like a big Santa guy. Like it wasn't like, like it just wasn't, I was into Santa as a kid, but like as an adult, Santa wasn't the same. But like now it's like, Santa's really cool because like my son doesn't know about Santa. So when my son met Santa and Santa gave him a bell, like he really thought I was a Santa. So I don't know. That stuff's really cool.
Yeah, it sounds like you know, having a kid just brings a little bit of that Christmas map back.
It definitely does. But I would say in general with business, it's a lot harder when you have a kid for sure. The unexpected like highs and lows, manic rush projects where you have to get everything done at once, like those kind of things, like they're definitely a little bit more challenging when you have a child. So you know, that's been an adjustment for sure. But thankfully my wife is super supportive, and she's done a great job of, you know, caring for our son for the most part, and then, you know, respecting and letting the process, trusting the process, and understanding how these work as a freelancer. So we've been able to kind of get to that point. And hi. Hey. Hi. Goodness, we're talking about you. So yeah, that's the gist of it. If you want to have a kid and you want to be a freelancer, get established a little bit first if you can.
But yeah, it's crazy that we've already celebrated his 1 year.
Yeah, and he's been in an ad.
And he's been in that. But yeah, I mean, I think we're ready to wrap it up. What do you expect for next year? What are your goals for that next year?
I would say the goals for me are just to like learning from the things that I wasn't completely satisfied with how they went. Like certain things that happened last year that I wasn't super satisfied with, or I feel like I could have done better, or we could have done better as a team. I would say just like implementing those changes into the new development that I have been working on, and you know, continuing to grow our clientele and our outreach, and you know, other than that, like I really that would be my goal, because I was happy with a lot of the things that happened this year. I want it to continue to magnify.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we also like are still transitioning into doing what I really want us to do, and we've evolved. And I think every year a business evolves, or it takes time for a business to evolve and to like really like have a new like niche and feel and workflow. And I don't know, I think the ads are still something that are kind of new to us, and I think that like every year we do them, we get better at them, and we're getting more opportunity.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, other than that, you know, consistently growing our YouTube too. I mean, I'm gonna keep that going. What about you?
We wanna focus more on internal content whenever we can. I think we talked about like doing like maybe Saturday, or Sunday once a month, and like just record a bunch of videos and all that. I think that'll be really cool. Besides that, I want to definitely focus on getting better at 3D and VFX so that we can offer more things and create even cooler stuff for clients and for ourselves, with not the huge movie budgets, and with Unreal and Blender we'll be able to do that and keep better than that. And obviously I want to keep helping, and I want to help with business development and like nail down my own clients to bring in to DME. And also I just want to keep, you know, pushing the DME brand and hoping that it gets bigger, so more people know about us, and like we get to work with all kinds of people.
Yeah, I think another goal I probably can like align on is also like finally, hopefully, somehow getting a project that justifies virtual production.
Yes.
Be great. Yeah. Like I feel like a big thing about this year that was like something that we have to like refresh and rewind about is like how much like crew we like connected with.
Yeah.
And like how many people like in the industry that we like connected with this year that we like didn't really have a relationship before with. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, we're still a smaller company, but I feel like we like the industry isn't as big as you'd think here, especially in the world that we work in. And I feel like we're like tapping into that, and like, you know, I'm proud of that because that takes time to develop a name. And I feel like we've done some really great things to develop a good network here, which is going to allow us to do the things we want to do and continue to elevate and grow. And, one of those things would be the virtual production for sure.
Yeah.
But with that, guys, that concludes episode 4 of The Creative Producer. I'm Dan, this is Raf, and we look forward to see you guys next year with more exciting content.